me for grabbing a few bits for my final dish, with a little helping hand from one of Almond's expert gardeners. And there we go, all the foundations for a fantastic dish. Perfect picking. I have to say, this is a spectacular place. Not only does it have an amazing restaurant, but what a garden. And for inspiration, this is probably the best place to be, I think, mainly. And I've got so many different things to choose from. You've got a selection of herbs, fresh veg further on, flowers all around me. But I'm going to take my inspiration from the flowers, and particularly one flower which I found further around the corner. These are courgette flowers. Amazing. Anybody with a garden knows that these are just as delicious as the courgette underneath. So all I'm going to do is just take out the little stamens. Now, I've used these quite a lot when I was working and training over in France. So often they'd be stuffed with a bit of salmon mousse, or often pike mousse, and then they would be poached. But for this, I'm going to keep all the sort of ingredients from the garden and use that for my inspiration for this one, and just keep it really simple. We've got some basilic over here, which is like a lovely floral basil over there. And we've got some of this American mint. What I'm going to do is just chop that up. Now this dish I'm going to keep vegetarian really, so I've got some cream cheese. Take this mixture and just mix it together. Keep it really simple. You don't need much really when you've got great ingredients like this in the garden. And all I'm going to do is grab this and just take a little bit of the mixture and just fill it up. Stick a decent sort of spoonful. You just fold these over. Now you can cook these in different ways. You can poach them. I'm going to pan fry them, but they're amazing deep fried in a batter. You just leave them as they are. You just deep fry the entire flour. No need to stuff them, but just leave them as they are. But you just fold them over like that. It creates these amazing little parcels underneath. And you can use whatever you want really for the herbs. A bit of tarragon would be nice, but just fold them over. They just look delicious. I also found in the garden some of this sweet corn. Now this is spectacular. Really tight, homegrown sweet corn. I grow this in my own garden at home. And I know this is good because basically the little cobs are nice and tight. You can see that. And that's the right amount of sunshine and water, which makes this the perfect place for this sort of stuff. So just going to chop this and just remove the corn. Get rid of this, and then we're really ready to cook it. All you do is throw some oil in the pan, just a touch. We can throw the corn in. I almost want this to sort of char really, rather than sort of just fry on its own, so make sure it's nice and hot. And at the same time we can throw in the little courgette flowers. Now just to help it char a little bit, I've got some floral honey. You can use things like maple syrup if you want, but just a tablespoon of this will just help the sweet corn just sear nicely. It's exactly what we want for this. Now I put the shallots in, because if we put them in too early, they're going to burn and taste bitter. So just roughly chop them up. We can throw those on the top as well. And just to keep it really simple, that's the key. So the courgettes we just flip over. They'll cook at the same time. Now for a little bit of white wine, just a touch. Fresh tomatoes. These are like a plum version of a piccolo tomato. Really simple, full of flavour. Lid on. And the reason for the lid is I'm going to steam just the base part of the courgette flowers. While that's steaming, I can cool down a bit, because it's hot in here. Just take a look at these fantastic ingredients. It's enough to inspire you to grow your own. And now that I've cooled down, the courgette flowers are nicely cooked. Give this a quick stir. Now I'm going to create a little salad with this, almost like a warm salad. And for that, I'm going to use lettuce. Now this is kind of like a beetroot salad really. Batavia lettuce. And the gardener said it's fantastic cooked. It's got a slight peppery note, a bit like roquette really. You could use that. You just put a few bits in there. And then this is where we incorporate some of the leaves and the flowers. So we've got some Mexican tarragon, which are these lovely yellow flowers. They can go in. Some Susie flowers. And then some of these alliums. Wonderful. And then just to bring all this lot together, a good knob of butter. Bit of seasoning, some salt, pepper. And that's really the key to any stuff like this when it's fresh out of the garden like this. Don't overcook it. Just keep it really simple. Lift off the plate. Now it's interesting, one of the first times I ever cooked with lettuce was in France, and it's in a lot of the dishes, and it's how they call it anglais, or in the style of anglais, the style of the English. But in the UK we never really cook with lettuce that much, and it's such a shame. We just often just open the packet and stick it in salads, but when we cook with it, it tastes fantastic. And all we do now is grab our stuffed courgette flowers. And finally, of course, you can take your pick around here in terms of flowers and petals and leaves. Everything in this garden is edible. Everything. Just put these over the top. Allium flowers. And some of these white allium flowers. So often these sort of look like wild garlic flowers. You can put those over the top. Now, as we're here and in this restaurant, and it's got a Michelin star, we've got to put a little chefy drizzle of olive oil over the top. And there you have it, stuffed courgette flowers with an ant. It's protein.